The space station hung like a jewel against the darkness. Its silver rings caught the light of the nearby star, creating a halo effect that many visitors found beautiful. Today, however, Ambassador Alan Green was too nervous to appreciate the view. "Final approach to Proxima Station," announced the pilot. "Ambassador, you might want to see this." Alan walked to the front of the small diplomatic vessel. Through the viewport, he could see the massive space station growing larger. Hundreds of ships from different worlds moved around it like bees around a hive. "Impressive," Alan said quietly. He straightened his formal blue uniform and checked his reflection in a nearby panel. At 53, his hair had gone completely gray, but his eyes remained sharp and alert. 20 years in diplomatic service had prepared him for many things, but this mission felt different. Humanity's future among the stars depended on his success. "Nervous, sir?" asked Susan Miller, his assistant. At 32, she had already proven herself exceptional at interstellar diplomacy. Her brown hair was pulled back in a practical bun, and she carried a data tablet with all their mission briefings. "Not nervous," Alan replied with a small smile. "Just aware of what's at stake. Earth has been trying to join the Galactic Council for 15 years. Susan nodded. "And the Draconians have blocked us every time." The ship's communication system crackled. "Earth diplomatic vessel, you are cleared for docking at Bay 12. Welcome to Proxima Station." Their ship eased into the assigned bay. After the docking procedures finished, Alan and Susan gathered their things and prepared to disembark. 2 more human staff members, security specialists, joined them at the airlock. "Remember," Alan told his team, "we're here to show the Council that humans belong among the galactic community. That means perfect behavior from all of us." The airlock door slid open. A delegation waited for them. At the front stood a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms and large, gentle eyes. "Ambassador Green," the alien said, bowing slightly. "I am Ziltara of the Arturian Republic. The Council has assigned me to be your guide during your stay." Alan bowed in return. "The honor is ours, Representative Ziltara. May I introduce my assistant, Susan Miller." As introductions continued, Alan noticed a group of reptilian beings watching from a distance. Their scales gleamed dark red and black, and their yellow eyes narrowed as they observed the humans. The Draconians had made no secret of their dislike for humans. "Pay them no mind," Ziltara whispered, noticing Alan's gaze. "The Draconian delegation finds fault with everyone. Come, your quarters are ready, and the Council expects you at the formal reception in 3 hours." The humans followed Ziltara through the station. Proxima Station was a marvel of engineering, home to representatives from over 200 species. The corridors were wide to accommodate beings of all sizes, and signs appeared in multiple languages, including the recently added Earth Standard. Their quarters were comfortable, if plain. After settling in, Susan activated her secure data terminal. "Ambassador, I've received an update from Earth Command," she said when Alan entered the common area. "Intelligence suggests the Draconians might be planning something during our visit." Alan frowned. "Any specifics?" "Nothing concrete. Just increased communication between their home world and their embassy here." Susan looked troubled. "There's something else. Reports from our outer colonies mention ships with signatures similar to Draconian vessels near missing colony ships." "Evidence?" "Nothing that would stand up in a council hearing," Susan admitted. Alan considered this information. "Keep digging, but quietly. We can't make accusations without proof. The Draconians already paint us as violent and paranoid." 2 hours later, dressed in his formal diplomatic uniform, Alan stood before a mirror. The uniform was dark blue with gold trim, bearing the Earth Union emblem, an olive branch circling a stylized planet. He took a deep breath. "Time to make history," he murmured to himself. The reception hall buzzed with activity. Beings from across the galaxy mingled. Some floating, others crawling, many walking on various numbers of limbs. Servers moved through the crowd with food and drinks suitable for different biologies. Ziltara guided Alan through the crowd, making introductions. Most representatives were polite, some genuinely curious about Earth. A few seemed cold or dismissive. "Ambassador Green," rumbled a deep voice behind him. Alan turned to face a massive reptilian being, nearly 7 feet tall, with obsidian scales and amber eyes. The Draconian cut an intimidating figure. "Hi, Lord Vexthor," Alan said calmly. "I'm honored you would greet me personally." The Draconian's mouth curled into what might have been a smile, revealing sharp teeth. "I always make a point to know my opponents." "I wasn't aware we were opponents," Alan replied. "Earth seeks friendship with all council species, including the Draconian Empire." Vexthor leaned closer. "Let us not pretend, human. Your kind spreads through the stars like a disease, taking resources, establishing colonies. The Council may be blind to the threat, but we Draconians see clearly." "Perhaps what you see as threat is simply potential," Alan suggested. "Earth has much to offer the galactic community. We shall see." Vexthor's eyes narrowed. "Enjoy the reception, Ambassador. It may be the high point of your visit." The Draconian moved away, leaving Alan with an uneasy feeling. The formal ceremony began an hour later. Each new delegation was officially presented to the Council. When Earth's turn came, Alan stepped forward and delivered his prepared speech. "Honorable representatives of the Galactic Council," he began, his voice clear and strong. "Earth comes before you not as strangers, but as neighbors who have watched and learned from afar. We bring not just our technology or resources, but our diversity, our creativity, our unwavering spirit. Humanity has overcome much in its journey to the stars. We have learned from our mistakes and grown stronger. We ask not for special treatment, but for the opportunity to contribute to this grand alliance of worlds." His words seemed to resonate with many of the delegates. Even some who had seemed indifferent now looked interested. As Alan continued speaking, Susan noticed movement in the upper balconies. Several Draconian guards were positioning themselves at key points. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A loud bang echoed through the hall, followed by smoke pouring from vents. "Security breach," someone shouted. Confusion erupted. Delegates rushed in all directions. Security personnel tried to maintain order, but the smoke made it difficult to see. Susan pushed through the crowd toward Alan, who was being surrounded by council security officers. "Ambassador," she called. Before she could reach him, a group of figures in dark armor appeared through the smoke. They moved with military precision, heading straight for Alan. "Protect the Earth delegation," shouted a security officer. Weapons were drawn. Energy blasts cut through the smoke. Susan lost sight of Alan in the chaos. When the smoke finally cleared and order was restored, representatives from all delegations were accounted for, except one. Ambassador Alan Green had vanished. Susan Miller ran through the crowded hallways of Proxima Station, pushing past aliens of all shapes and sizes. Her heart pounded in her chest. Ambassador Green had been missing for 6 hours now, and no one seemed to be doing anything about it. "Excuse me," she said as she bumped into a tall, plant-like being. She didn't stop to apologize further. The council security offices were buzzing with activity when she arrived. Species from across the galaxy filed reports about items lost during the chaos at the reception. Susan pushed her way to the front desk where a 4-armed Centaurian was managing the crowd. "I need to speak with Chief Voss immediately," Susan demanded. "This is about Ambassador Green." The Centaurian's upper eyes blinked slowly. "The chief is very busy with the security incident." "The security incident was a cover to kidnap our ambassador." Susan slammed her hand on the desk. "Every minute we waste puts his life in more danger." After a moment of consideration, the Centaurian nodded and gestured for Susan to follow. They walked down a long corridor to a private office, where Chief Voss, a stocky Centaurian with gray-blue skin, was reviewing security footage. "The human assistant to Ambassador Green, Chief," the desk officer announced. Voss turned. "Ms. Miller, please sit." Susan remained standing. "Have you found him?" "We are doing everything we can," Voss said. "The smoke bombs damaged many of our security cameras. We're trying to piece together what happened. It was the Draconians, Susan said firmly. They've opposed our membership from the beginning. They created this distraction to take Ambassador Green. Voss sighed. That's a serious accusation against a founding member of the council. Do you have proof? Susan hesitated. Not yet, but I will find it. Back at the Earth delegation's quarters, Susan found Lieutenant Kate Rogers, one of their security team members, treating a wound on her arm. Any news? Kate asked, wincing as she applied medication to the burn. Nothing useful. The council security is moving too slowly. Susan paced the room. We need to find him ourselves. Kate nodded. I've been trying to access the station's security network, but my clearance isn't high enough. Then we'll need to get creative. Susan sat at her terminal. The ambassador mentioned that some of the station's systems were based on old Earth tech. Maybe there's a back door. For the next 2 hours, Susan and Kate worked together, using Susan's diplomatic access and Kate's security training to carefully probe the station's systems. Finally, they managed to access camera footage from corridors near the reception hall. There! Kate pointed at the screen. Through the smoke, they could make out 3 large figures in dark armor dragging someone, down a maintenance corridor. Can you follow where they went? Susan asked. Kate nodded, typing quickly. The cameras in that section are on a different network, but yes, got it. They watched as the armored figures, clearly Draconians based on their movement and build, carried the unconscious form of Ambassador Green through rarely used service tunnels toward the Draconian embassy section. We need to notify Admiral Kelly on the USS Horizon, Susan said, reaching for the secure communication device. The Admiral's face appeared on the screen moments later. John Kelly was a veteran of Earth's Space Navy, his weathered face showing both concern and anger when Susan reported their findings. The Draconians have denied any involvement, Admiral Kelly said. They claim their security team was also targeted in the attack. That's a lie, Susan insisted, showing him the footage they'd found. The Admiral's expression darkened. This could mean war if true. I need absolute confirmation before I can act officially. What about unofficially? Kate asked. There was a pause before the Admiral spoke again. I can't order any action that would violate council law, but I wouldn't stop anyone from conducting a rescue mission for a missing diplomat. Susan and Kate exchanged looks. They understood what he wasn't saying. Keep this channel open, Admiral Kelly said. I'll have a team standing by if you find the ambassador's exact location. After ending the call, Susan and Kate continued their search through the station's systems. They managed to access partial schematics of the Draconian embassy section. Their embassy is like a fortress, Kate observed. Multiple security checkpoints. Energy shields, armed guards, getting in won't be easy. We don't need to get in, Susan replied. We just need to confirm the ambassador is there. Then Admiral Kelly can make an official demand for his return. Their work was interrupted by an alert on the main communication screen. All channels on Proxima Station were being directed to an emergency broadcast. The screen showed a large chamber decorated with Draconian symbols. In the center stood Ambassador Green, his uniform torn and bloody. His face was bruised, but his eyes remained defiant. He was surrounded by Draconian guards with High Lord Vexthor seated on an elevated platform before him. This emergency session of Draconian justice has found the Earth diplomat Alan Green guilty of espionage against the Draconian Empire, Vexthor announced to the camera. In accordance with our ancient laws, the sentence is death by purification. Susan gasped. They can't do this. Public execution has been banned by council law for centuries. On-screen, Ambassador Green spoke, his voice hoarse but steady. I deny these false charges. The people of Earth come in peace, seeking only friendship and cooperation. Vexthor laughed, the sound chilling. Your lies mean nothing. We have intercepted your communications. We know Earth plans to infiltrate the Council and undermine our authority. Those documents are forgeries, Green replied. If you do this, you will start a war you cannot win. Susan immediately opened a channel to Admiral Kelly, who was already watching the broadcast. We need to stop this, she cried. I've already contacted the Council leadership, the Admiral replied, his face grim. They're sending security forces to the Draconian embassy, but it will take time to cut through diplomatic protocols. On screen, Draconian guards forced Ambassador Green into a metal circle in the center of the room. Energy barriers sprang up around him. Let this be a message to Earth and all who would threaten the Draconian Empire, Vexthor declared. Susan watched in horror as Vexthor pressed a control on his chair. The floor beneath Ambassador Green began to glow red. Green remained standing tall as flames began to rise around him. From Earth's ashes, he shouted over the roar of the fire, looking directly into the camera. Justice will rise. The flames engulfed him completely. Susan turned away, unable to watch. Kate put a hand on her shoulder, her face pale with shock and anger. The broadcast cut off suddenly, replaced by the face of the Arturian Council speaker, Ziltara. This unauthorized action by the Draconian delegation is a violation of all Council principles. Emergency security teams have been dispatched. Susan wasn't listening anymore. She turned to Kate, her grief turning to cold resolve. Contact Admiral Kelly, she said. Tell him it's too late for diplomacy. The news of Ambassador Green's execution reached Earth within hours. People gathered in city squares, watching the terrible footage on giant screens. Some cried, others shouted in anger. The brutal death of their diplomat, burned alive before. The eyes of the galaxy united humanity in a way nothing had before. In Washington, D.C., President Elizabeth Ward sat in the Oval Office, her face pale but composed. Military leaders and government officials filled the room, their voices rising as they argued about how to respond. Silence, the president said quietly. The room immediately fell still. She stood and walked to the window, looking out at the White House lawn where crowds had gathered. For too long we have hidden our true strength, she said. We showed the galaxy only what we wanted them to see, a peaceful, developing species seeking friendship. Today that approach died with Alan Green. She turned to face the room. Admiral Harris, activate Protocol Omega. A gray-haired man in a naval uniform nodded grimly and stepped out of the room. No one spoke until he returned 5 minutes later. It's done, Madam President. All sleeper agents have been activated. Our hidden fleets are moving into position. President Ward nodded. General Clark, prepare a worldwide address in 1 hour. The people deserve to know what comes next. Across the solar system, massive ships emerged from hidden bases on Mars, Europa, and Titan. These weren't the small diplomatic vessels or simple cargo ships the Council races had seen before. These were warships, built in secret over decades, armed with weapons that even the most advanced Council species would fear. On Proxima Station, Susan Miller and Kate Rogers hurried through crowded corridors. Chaos had erupted after Ambassador Green's execution. Council security forces had tried to enter the Draconian embassy, only to be repelled by force. Now, species from across the galaxy were evacuating, fearing what would come next. We have to get to the docking bay, Kate said, checking her weapon. Admiral Kelly's orders were clear. Susan nodded, clutching a data drive to her chest. We can't leave without this. It contains everything we found about Draconian military positions and defense systems. They turned a corner and found their path blocked by 3 Draconian soldiers. The humans, one hissed. Stop them. Kate fired first, her energy pistol dropping 1 Draconian instantly. Susan ducked behind a support column as energy bolts sizzled past her head. Kate took down a 2nd Draconian, but was hit in the shoulder by the 3rd. Susan pulled out her own small pistol, a weapon she'd never expected to use as a diplomatic assistant. She fired 3 quick shots. The last Draconian fell. Kate, are you okay? Susan rushed to help her friend. I'll live, Kate grunted, pressing a hand to her wounded shoulder. Keep moving. We're almost there. They reached the docking bay where a small Earth shuttle waited. As they hurried aboard, Susan saw Draconian warships through the viewports, moving into battle formation around the station. They're preparing for war, she said, as Kate started the shuttle's engines. They don't know what war is, Kate replied grimly. Not yet. The shuttle shot away from Proxima Station, weaving through space traffic. Behind them, energy weapons began to fire as Draconian ships attacked vessels from other Council species, USS. Horizon, this is Diplomatic Shuttle Echo 3, Kate called over the comm. Request immediate retrieval. We have Priority 1 data and are being pursued. Admiral Kelly's voice came through clearly. Echo 3, we have your position. Continue on your current vector. Suddenly, a massive ship appeared ahead of them, dropping out of faster-than-light travel. It was the USS Horizon, but it looked different than before. Additional weapon systems now covered its hull, previously hidden behind false panels. They've dropped their camouflage, Susan whispered. A Draconian warship appeared behind their shuttle, weapons charging. Before it could fire, the USS Horizon released a barrage of energy torpedoes. The Draconian ship exploded in a ball of fire. First blood, Kate murmured as their shuttle was drawn into the Horizon's docking bay. Admiral Kelly met them personally as they disembarked. His uniform had changed too, now bearing combat insignia previously unknown to the galactic community. Ms. Miller, Lieutenant Rogers, well done getting out of there. He noticed Kate's injury. Get to medical immediately, Lieutenant. After Kate was taken to the medical bay, the Admiral led Susan to the bridge. The command center was a hive of activity, officers monitoring stations and calling out reports. The Draconian diplomatic vessel is attempting to leave the station, reported a young officer. Admiral Kelly's face hardened. Weapons officer, target their engines only. I want them disabled, not destroyed. Sir? The weapons officer questioned. They'll be more valuable as prisoners than corpses, Kelly explained. Fire. Susan watched on the main screen as precision beam weapons struck the Draconian ship, cutting its engines away from the main hull. The ship drifted, powerless. Launch boarding teams, Kelly ordered. I want their navigation data and any diplomatic communication seized. He turned to Susan. Ms. Miller, I understand you have intelligence on Draconian defenses? Susan handed over the data drive. Everything we could gather from their systems, including evidence that they've been attacking our outer colonies for years. Kelly nodded to a communications officer. Send this to Earth Command immediately. A loud chime sounded throughout the ship. All hands attention, announced the ship's Incoming transmission from Earth presidential address. The main screen switched to show President Ward standing before the United Nations Assembly. Her black suit was adorned only with a small pin showing Earth's flag. Citizens of Earth and her colonies, she began, her voice strong and clear. Today we witnessed an act of barbarism that cannot go unanswered. Ambassador Alan Green, a man of peace, was executed without trial or mercy by the Draconian Empire. She paused, looking directly into the camera. For decades we have hidden our true capabilities from the galactic community, fearing that our strength would be seen as a threat. We sought acceptance through humility and diplomacy. The camera panned to show delegates from around the world, their faces solemn. That era ends today, the president continued. I have authorized our military to conduct operations against all Draconian forces throughout the galaxy. To our friends among the stars, stand aside. This is not your war unless you make it so. She took a deep breath. The Draconians believed us weak. They will learn that humanity's patience was a gift they should have treasured. From this moment forward, Earth is at war. As the transmission ended, Admiral Kelly turned to his crew. You heard the president. Set course for the Draconian outpost in the Sirius system. All weapons online. It's time they learned what humanity is truly capable of. Susan watched as the stars stretched into lines on the view screen. The USS Horizon, along with hundreds of other Earth ships across the galaxy, jumped into faster-than-light travel, carrying humanity's response to those who had underestimated them. The war had begun. 3 weeks into the war, the galaxy was in shock. The humans, once thought to be a minor power-seeking council protection, had revealed themselves as something else entirely. Their ships appeared everywhere at once, striking Draconian outposts with surgical precision. Admiral Kelly stood on the bridge of the USS Retribution, a massive warship that had remained hidden in the clouds of Jupiter until the war began. Once revealed, it became the flagship of Earth's fleet. The ship was nearly a mile long, bristling with weapon systems that no Council race had ever seen before. "Status report," Kelly ordered, his uniform now bearing additional medals from the initial victories. "Draconian Defense Station has been disabled, Admiral," reported his second-in-command. "Their weapons are offline and we've jammed all communications." Kelly nodded. "Begin boarding operations. Remember, we want prisoners and data, not a body count." On the main screen, smaller, Earth vessels moved toward the crippled Draconian station. Special Forces teams, led by Lieutenant Kate Rogers, would soon breach the outer hull. Kate had recovered from her injuries at Proxima Station and requested immediate reassignment to combat operations. Now she stood in the airlock of an assault shuttle, 20 soldiers in powered armor behind her. 2 minutes to contact," announced the pilot. "All teams, final weapons check." Kate checked her rifle one last time. The weapon was far more advanced than anything she had carried as a diplomatic security officer. It could switch between lethal and non-lethal settings with a thought, thanks to the neural interface in her helmet. "Remember," she told her team, "we're here for the prison level. Intelligence believes they're holding humans from the outer colonies. Those people are our priority." The shuttle attached to the station with a metallic clang. Cutting beams sliced through the hull, creating an entrance. Kate was the first through, rifle raised. 3 Draconian guards met them in the corridor. Kate's first shot stunned one while her team took down the others. "Move fast," she ordered. "They'll have internal security responses." The team fought their way through the station, moving deeper into the structure. The Draconians fought fiercely, but they were clearly surprised by the humans' advanced technology and tactics. Kate's helmet display showed a map of the station, updated in real time as their scans penetrated deeper into the structure. The prison level was 2 decks below. "This way," she said, pointing to a maintenance shaft. "It's faster than the main corridors." As they descended, Kate's comm unit activated. "Lieutenant Rogers, this is Admiral Kelly. Be advised, we're detecting unusual energy readings from the central core of that station. Proceed with caution." "Understood, Admiral," Kate replied. "We're almost at the prison level." They reached the prison deck and found dozens of cells lining the corridors. Kate ordered her team to split up and check each one. "Here," shouted one of her soldiers. "We've got survivors." Kate rushed over to find a cell containing 6 humans in tattered clothing. They looked malnourished and afraid. When the soldier deactivated the energy field, they didn't move at first. "It's okay," Kate said, removing her helmet so they could see her face. "We're from Earth. We're here to take you home." A woman stepped forward, her eyes wary. "Earth? Earth doesn't have warships." "A lot has changed," Kate explained, helping the woman out. "The Draconians executed our ambassador. Earth is now at war." The woman's eyes widened. "They've been taking us for years, hundreds of us from the outer colonies." "Why?" Kate asked. "What do they want?" "Tests," the woman whispered. "They're afraid of us, of what we can do." Before Kate could ask more questions, an explosion rocked the station. Alarms blared through the corridors. "Lieutenant!" her comm crackled. "The Draconians have activated—" "Some kind of self-destruct system. You have 10 minutes to evacuate." "Copy that," Kate replied. She turned to her team. "Get these people to the shuttles now. I'll check the remaining cells." As her team escorted the rescued prisoners, Kate continued down the corridor, checking the final cells. Most were empty, but in the last one, she found a laboratory instead of a prison cell. Inside were computer terminals and strange medical equipment. Kate quickly downloaded the data from the terminals to her suit's storage system. The screen showed human DNA sequences alongside Draconian genetic codes. "What were they doing here?" she muttered. The station shook again, more violently this time. Kate knew she had to leave. She sprinted back through the corridors, reaching the shuttle bay just as her team was preparing to depart. "Everyone accounted for?" she asked as she jumped aboard the last shuttle. "All survivors secured," replied her second-in-command. 37 in total. The shuttles launched from the station moments before it exploded in a massive fireball. From the viewport, Kate watched the Draconian station break apart. Back on the USS Retribution, Kate delivered the rescued colonists to the medical bay before, reporting to Admiral Kelly with the data she had recovered. Susan Miller was also in the briefing room. After escaping Proxima Station, she had been appointed as a special intelligence advisor to the fleet. "What did you find, Lieutenant?" Kelly asked. Kate transferred the data to the main display. "I think this explains why the Draconians have been so opposed to humans joining the Council." The screen showed comparative genetic analysis between humans and Draconians with certain sequences highlighted. Susan studied the display. "They were studying our DNA?" "Not just studying," Kate said. "According to these notes, they were trying to find a way to suppress certain genetic markers in our species." Admiral Kelly frowned. "What markers?" Kate tapped the screen, expanding one section of data. "These sequences are related to latent telepathic abilities." The room fell silent. Susan was the first to speak. "Are you saying humans are telepathic?" "Not exactly," Kate replied. "According to this data, humans have dormant genetic potential for abilities the Draconians already possess, but our version could be much stronger if activated." Admiral Kelly paced the room. "This changes things. If the Draconians have telepathic abilities they've kept hidden from the Council, it explains how they've manipulated galactic politics for centuries, and why they fear us," Susan added. "If humans developed these abilities, we need to get this information to Earth Command immediately," Kelly decided. "In the meantime, I want all Draconian prisoners screened for telepathic activity." As they prepared to send the data, warning alerts flashed across the bridge. A communications officer called out, "Admiral, we've detected a massive Draconian fleet jumping into the system. At least 30 warships, including their flagship." Kelly returned to the bridge, his expression grim but determined. "So they've finally committed their main force. Good. It's time we showed them exactly what they've been afraid of." He turned to his communications officer. "Send word to all Earth vessels in the sector. It's time to spring the trap." The main screen showed the approaching Draconian armada, their black and red ships moving into attack formation. "All hands to battle stations," ordered Admiral Kelly. "Today we end this war." The space between Saturn and Jupiter filled with light as the battle raged. Earth ships moved in perfect formation against the larger Draconian fleet. What the humans lacked in numbers, they made up for in technology and tactics. "Firing solution locked," reported the weapons officer on the USS Retribution. Admiral Kelly nodded. "Fire." Beams of blue energy lanced from the human flagship, cutting through a Draconian cruiser's shields like they weren't there. The enemy ship split in two, its reactor core exploding in a bright flash. "Direct hit," the tactical officer announced. 3 more Draconian ships are moving to surround us." Kelly remained calm. "Spring the minefield." Throughout the battlefield, hundreds of small devices that had been hidden in the asteroid belt suddenly activated. They swarmed toward the Draconian ships, attaching to their hulls before detonating. Ship after ship lost power as the devices disrupted their energy systems. "The Draconian flagship is still operational," Susan Miller reported from her station. She had insisted on remaining aboard for the battle, her knowledge of Draconian tactics proving valuable. "They're using some kind of shielding we haven't seen before." Kelly studied the massive black vessel at the center of the enemy formation. "That's their high command ship. Vexthor will be on board." Suddenly, officers around the bridge began to wince and grab their heads. "Sir," a young ensign called out, "I'm feeling something like pressure in my mind." "Telepathic attack," Susan realized. "They're trying to disable us without destroying the ship." Kelly felt it too, a pushing sensation against his thoughts. He fought it back through sheer willpower. "This is what we prepared for. Activate the Psi-shields." Throughout the human fleet, devices designed based on the data Kate had recovered from the Draconian station hummed to life. The mental pressure eased immediately. "Counterattack," Kelly ordered. "Bring in the beta team." On a smaller vessel nearby, Lieutenant Kate Rogers stood with 20 men and women, Each wore a special helmet designed to amplify their latent telepathic abilities. "Remember your training," Kate told them. "Focus on the flagship's command center. Don't try to control them. Just disrupt their concentration." The team closed their eyes, their minds reaching out together. None of them had known they possessed telepathic potential until the war began, and Earth scientists made the breakthrough. But now they pushed their newfound abilities to the limit. Aboard the Draconian flagship, High Lord Vexthor suddenly screamed and fell to his knees. Around him, other Draconian officers clutched their heads. "Impossible," Vexthor hissed. "How are they doing this? Their abilities were dormant." His communications officers struggled to speak. "My lord, they're boarding parties. Approaching." Earth Marines in powered armor burst through airlock doors throughout the Draconian flagship. The ship's defenders, still reeling from the telepathic counterattack, could offer little resistance. Admiral Kelly led a team directly to the bridge. The doors slid open to reveal High Lord Vexthor struggling to his feet, surrounded by fallen officers. "High Lord Vexthor," Kelly said, his rifle aimed at the Draconian leader's chest. "In the name of Earth and Ambassador Alan Green, you are under arrest for war crimes," Vexthor snarled. "You think this ends with me? The Draconian Empire spans hundreds of worlds. We will never surrender to primates like you." "Your empire is already falling," Kelly replied. "While you committed your fleet here, our other battle groups have taken your core worlds. Your colonies are surrendering one by one." The Draconian's yellow eyes widened. "You're lying." Susan Miller stepped forward, showing him a datapad with real-time updates from across the galaxy. "It's over, Vexthor. Earth didn't just build warships. We've been preparing for this moment for decades." 3 days later, the Galactic Council gathered in emergency session. The Great Chamber was tense, with representatives from all species, watching as Susan Miller took the position once held by Ambassador Green. "The war is over," she announced. "The Draconian leadership has surrendered unconditionally." Murmurs filled the chamber. The Arturian representative Ziltara spoke first. "What are Earth's terms for peace?" Susan's expression remained firm. "Justice, not vengeance. The Draconian leaders responsible for war crimes will stand trial before a galactic court. Their victims, including the humans taken from our colonies, will receive compensation." She paused, looking around the chamber. "But we will not destroy their civilization or their worlds. Unlike them, we understand the difference between leaders and people." A Centaurian representative stood. "And Earth's place in the galaxy now? You have revealed military power beyond anything we imagined." "Earth requests full membership in the Galactic Council," Susan replied. "With additional seats for our colony worlds. We have hidden our true strength for too long. It's time for honesty between all species." After much debate, the Council voted. Earth was accepted as a full member, with Susan Miller confirmed as the new ambassador. As the session ended, Ziltara approached Susan privately. "What will happen to Vexthor and the other Draconian leaders?" Susan's expression softened slightly. "They expected execution, the same fate they gave Ambassador Green. Instead, they will help rebuild the worlds they damaged. Life sentences of restoration, not destruction." "A surprisingly merciful choice," Ziltara observed. "That's the point," Susan replied. "We want the galaxy to understand that humans can be terrible in war, but we prefer peace. We always have." 1 month later, Susan stood with President Ward and Admiral Kelly at the newly constructed memorial on Proxima Station. A life-sized statue of Ambassador Alan Green stood with his hand extended in friendship. Behind him, a wall listed the names of all humans who had died in the conflict. "He would be proud," President Ward said quietly. "Not of the war, but of the peace we've built from it." Admiral Kelly nodded. "The Draconians aren't the only ones who learned a lesson. The entire council now understands that appearance isn't the same as strength." Susan placed a small Earth flag at the base of the statue. "His last words became our battle cry, but they mean something different now. From Earth's ashes, justice has risen, not just for us, but for all species who suffered under Draconian influence." As they turned to leave, Lieutenant Kate Rogers approached with a datapad. Ambassador Miller, the first human telepathic training center is ready to open on Mars. We've already received applications from 1,000 potential students. Susan smiled. Abilities the Draconians feared will now help build understanding between species. I think that's the best memorial we could create. The four humans looked out the station's viewport at the stars beyond. Earth ships now patrolled alongside vessels from other Council species, protecting the peace they had fought to secure. What happens next? Kate asked. Susan watched as ships from dozens of worlds moved through space around them. We do what humans have always done best. We explore. We learn. We grow. She touched the memorial one last time. And we remember the price of both war and peace.